Okay. Hey everybody, it's been a long time since I made one of these. I'm actually going through a large number of life changes right now. So I've been quite busy and I'm going to make a video about those life changes probably beginning of next week, I hope. But I wanted to make one today because I was on the Facebook page for Python beginners, and a guy by the name of Tawing Ork, Tawing, if I mispronounce your name, I'm very sorry. He asked what is the best operating system for development. That's a question that comes up a lot in beginner-based forums and websites. And I mentioned that Python is very learnable on really any operating system these days. But I preferred a Unix-based operating system because I'd like to do my work from the command line. Particularly, I like to use Vim. And in that post, I included a picture of my workspace. Some of you have seen my workspace already, some of you haven't. So, a guy by the name of Brute Light actually commented and said, I like this. I'd love to see your setup and how you make it work. So I just decided to make a full video about Vim, including quite a few things. I'm going to discuss how I got introduced to Vim, why I still use Vim, how I use it. I'm going to kind of show you, I'm going to pretend to work on some code through my Vim editor to just kind of show you what I use and why I use it and how I use it. And at the end of it, because I'm planning on posting this to the beginners Facebook page, I'm also going to walk you all through how to install my Vim config. Okay? So that's quite a few things. And I thought it would be kind of cute for me to name this I'm a Vim Addict, because I really am. I started using Vim in the spring of 2012. I was taking my second computer science class at Western Carolina. And what made me fall in love with using Vim, in the first class we used BlueJ. If you don't know what BlueJ is, honestly, you're probably better off. It's a training wheels Java IDE. For Java, in order to make any of your software run, you have to create a main file. And that kind of removed the necessity of that. It allowed us to right-click on our files and run our methods from there. It was just kind of a, here's the beginnings of Java IDE. I don't know any serious developers who use it, and I don't think it was designed for any serious developers to use it. It was meant as an educational system. When we got to the second class, they took BlueJ away. We were still working in Java, but they gave us our own mini server on campus, and we could connect to it from any computer we wanted. We could just SSH from the command line into it, and the intention was for us to use Vim in that class. I'm sure if you really wanted to use Nano or Emacs, you could get away with that, but Vim was the preferred code editor. That's what the professor used during all the lectures. That's what they taught us to use, and I really loved it. One of the things I really loved about the idea of using Vim is through Vim and SSH, you can do your work from anywhere that has internet access. At the time, I was using a very terrible Windows laptop that was old and falling apart. And for any of you who have tried to SSH from a Windows machine, it's quite troublesome. So what I would do is when my girlfriend at the time wasn't looking, I'd kind of take her MacBook and do my homework from her MacBook, because it didn't matter. I wasn't actually doing the work on that computer. I was doing the work on the server, and I was just connecting to it. So that's really where my interest in Vim started, because it was required. And so I guess I'm going to get to the second part about why I still use Vim. I'm not taking any official classes right now, so it's really up to me what I use. And some of my online classes, I had to use the IDE specified by the course. MIT, they recommended Spider for the Python courses, but they didn't require it. There was nothing about Spider that we had to use to make that code run, so I actually ended up using Vim for most of that course. I did experiment with Atom some during that time, but I realized I always kept coming back to Vim. CS50, they required us to use the CS50 IDE, but funnily enough, the IDE is just on Cloud 9, where it's really just an Ubuntu computer with a text editor. And I just opened up a terminal and used Vim from inside an IDE inside my web browser on my computer. And for the how to code data courses, we had to use Dr. Racket. I don't think there was any way we could get through that course without using it. Then for the how to construct software courses, it was a Java course. They used IntelliJ. I used IntelliJ for the first 2 or 3 weeks, and then I realized there was nothing about IntelliJ that I had to use, so I switched to Vim for most of that course. So the common theme in this conversation so far has been I keep coming back to Vim. Why? Honestly, because once you learn it, it makes your life so much easier, in my opinion. And I'm not going to bash other IDEs. This whole conversation isn't going to be, well, Vim is great because Eclipse sucks, Emacs sucks. No, nothing about that. I'm just going to explain why I prefer Vim. And the reason for it is what everyone says they use Vim for. It increases efficiency, and I never have to take my hands off the keyboard. And for me, that's very helpful. I enjoy that. A lot of people don't, and that's okay. They don't have to. I keep using Vim also because, again, we go back to the I can code from anywhere, from any computer. There have been times where what I really like is I don't have to have internet access. I can't think of any IDEs except for Cloud9 and the cloud-based ones that you have to. But my family and I have gone on road trips to Greenville or to Boone to visit my brother, and I just take my laptop with me and I code on my laptop. And I just open up a terminal and I get to work. Okay? That's really nice. Or the times where, for some reason, I don't have my laptop on me. It's almost always plugged in on my desk. So I've actually used my mother's Windows PC. I've gotten onto Cloud9 and I've SSH'd into my own computer and done my work that way. It worked. I can use Vim on virtually any machine. I know Vim comes on every Ubuntu installation. I'm fairly certain it came on my MacBook when I bought it. The only operating system that doesn't come by default is Windows, and you could just get Cygwin and do it that way. So a lot of things, a lot of talking about why I use Vim and all that. You guys probably, that's not what you're here for. So I'm going to get into how I use Vim, and I'm going to get rid of this very cute Vim Addict screen. Okay, I'm going to take it back to a normal size, and I'm just going to quit all. I'm going to quit force. And here we are on my just default directory in my home. And I've been working on the practicepython.org exercises, so we're going to move to that. Give me just a moment to type all this in. Okay, here it is, and it's in a master folder. Oops, excuse me. CD master. That's just for ease of convenience. And I'm going to show you one of the projects I was working on. Okay, take a look. I've got exercise 10.py, exercise 10 test.py, because I very much believe in test-driven development, and then the PyCatch. So I'm going to type V. It's my alias for Vim. Just saves me 2 keystrokes every time I need to open it. Enter. And then we've got, you'll notice 3 windows. That's not standard for Vim. This is using plugins and auto command functioning. And you'll notice that I'm over here. And this is my file tree, like you'll find in a lot of code editors and IDEs. You know, very common. Atom has one. Eclipse, IntelliJ, just about all of them have a file tree. Vim doesn't by default, so I installed a plugin that allows one. I'm going to open up my exercise 10.py file. Okay? And you'll notice here at the middle, I have my file for what I'm working on. And you'll also notice on the left that I have this. It's called a tag bar. Okay? And that's very common in a lot of IDEs. IntelliJ has it. Eclipse has it. Atom doesn't have one as far as I found, but you know, whatever. I can, if I want to switch straight to found in both lists, I can click on that, and then in my main editor, it'll take me there. Or if I want to remove duplicates, it'll take me right there, and I can move from there. Very simple, and this is a very small file, so it's not necessarily necessary here, but you can imagine a 1,000-line file. It'd be much more convenient. All right? And it's not actually working yet because I haven't finished it. But one thing I really like, and you'll notice if I move up here, I'm not using the default terminal. I'm using iTerm2. I don't like any of the default terminals that come on any operating system. Not on Mac, not on Linux, and certainly not on Windows. So for Linux, I recommend Terminator. For Mac, I obviously recommend iTerm2. And then for Windows, coding from the command line in Windows is always troublesome. But if you really want to, Cygwin is probably your best option. And in the comments in the description of this video, I'll put links to all these things and to other things as well. Excuse me. One of the biggest reasons I don't like using the default terminal is for this functionality right here. Boom, second terminal below my main. I can just go down. This is one of the few times I ever actually use my mouse when developing because I want this to be smaller. Okay. Now I've got a terminal at the bottom. Control, Shift, curly bracket. Oh, excuse me. Control, square bracket will get me down there. And then from there, I can run my file. Of course, it doesn't actually do anything because there's no main functionality. So let's test what I wrote. And all my tests run okay. And if for any reason I need it on a bigger screen, I'll just type Control Bash, which says, hey Vim, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to the terminal. Exercise 10 test.py, and there you go. It's big enough that I can see everything. And then just press enter to take me back. So this is one of the big reasons I don't like iTerm. I don't like the default terminal. iTerm gives me that functionality. I know Terminator does, but you'll have to forgive me. I don't remember how to do it. In iTerm, it's Command Shift D to create the horizontally split terminal. Then there's no way to resize it without your mouse, unfortunately, which is a big hatred thing for Vim users. We don't like the mouse. And then to switch between the two, it's Command square brackets. We'll switch between the two at our leisure. Okay, so I'm going to show you a couple more things in here. Mostly things I've added. Okay, a big thing about me is I really don't like going to the escape key, which is how you leave insert mode. So I've done in my vimrc, and I'm going to show you my vimrc in a little bit, is I've rewritten JK to mean escape. Okay, so that's just a little twitch of my hand, and I'm back in normal mode. That was a big thing for me. Also, because I was learning, I made all my arrow keys just add useless text, so I'd get frustrated to make myself stop using those arrow keys. So there we have that. Another very helpful plugin that I added is Control P. And Control P does a few things for me. If I'm in normal mode, Control P does nothing. It's concerning. So let's get rid of this. Control P is a autocomplete. Okay, so that's very helpful. The other two very helpful plugins that I have. First of all, I have Bundle. That's how I manage my plugins, and I'll teach you all how to use that soon. But I also have Nerd Tree and Tag Bar. You can actually see both those on screen now. And I'm going to actually get rid of those two things. Oh no, I'm very sorry. Very sorry, I pressed the wrong button. I was dumb. And those come up by default by using the auto command functionality of Vim, and I'll show you how to do that. And by pressing Shift N is how I've rewritten it. You know, normally I can open Nerd Tree just by typing Command Nerd Tree and it'll come up. But that takes time. So I have it set up so now if I press Shift N, it opens. Okay. And then let's say I want my tag bar. Well, I could type tag bar if I wanted to. Or I've rerouted it, so Shift T. It didn't work. Why didn't that work? That was odd. Oh, it's because I wasn't in my main window. For tag bar, you can just toggle it with Shift T as much as you want. Unfortunately, that doesn't work with Nerd Tree. You have to manually quit Nerd Tree. Okay? And there you have it. That's really how I use my setup. It's a pretty bare bones explanation. I apologize. And now I'm going to show you guys my VimRC, explain a little bit of it to you. So let's quit out of all this. Go back. And let's take a look at my VimRC. We'll close Nerd Tree and Tag Bar. Okay. I'm just going to kind of take you through most of these lines. Set number. As you'll see at the left of my cursor, it always shows the line number I'm on. We tend to want that. Okay. And then underneath that, you'll notice beneath 1, I have 1, 2, 3. That's kind of weird, right? Oh, man, I keep doing that. I apologize. Well, what it does is the combination of set number and set relative number means that whatever line I'm on, it will show how far away every other line is. So if I want to go up 4 lines, I can just say 4K. If I want to go down 7 lines, I can just say 7J. So that to me, that's very convenient. I see what line I'm on, but I also see how far away I am from it. Cursor lines, that's this red line right here. I've set it to 80. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's not what that is. Color line means that cursor line means, notice how the whole line I'm on is underlined. And for me, I just get lost in my code sometimes. I forget where I am, and that helps me. Syntax on, that means it understands when I'm using syntax and it colors it appropriately. Tab stop means by default my tabs are 4. Smart indent means it remembers how far I'm indented whenever I create a new line. Expand tab means whenever I tab, use spaces instead of tabs. I know that's an argument some people have. Set color column to 80. That's this red line. Okay, that's saying, hey, once you get here, that's 80 characters, so you probably want to cut it off. Clipboard to unnamed, that just means it clips to the default clipboard. Set mouse to A, that means if I wanted to, I could scroll with my mouse. I very rarely use that. No expand tab, shouldn't be there. Color scheme, shouldn't be there. File type, plugin, indent on. Basically, in my Vim folder, I have different behaviors for different languages. I'm saying HTML, I want my tab space to be 4. Java or Python, I want it to be 4. Sorry, HTML should be 2. And that sort of thing. Auto command, Vim enter, star, nerd tree. What that means is every time I enter Vim, open nerd tree. Auto command, Vim enters, same thing with tag bar. This next bit of code is for Bundle, which is a file management system for Vim. It's what allows us to install our things. Okay, and here are all my plugins. Some of these plugins I have commented out because I don't want them right now, but I may want them again later. So on and so on. Here's a bunch of plugins. And this is the end of the bundle stuff. And then I have, okay, some more my tab preferences. Stop using arrow keys. Basically, I've made it so that if I ever NO remap, basically means if I ever press up, ignore it. Pretend I didn't put in anything. And that was to force me to stop doing that. In both insert and visual mode, JK now puts in escape, so that's an easy way out. And then I have it set up so that Control N means nerd tree and Control T means tag bar. And here are some failed attempts. And the rest of this, don't worry about. Okay. So that's all nice and good and all, and this is how I use my Vim setup. If you're interested in using my Vim setup, I'm going to show you how to install that. Okay? And I'm going to show you how to do it on Cloud 9. So Windows users or anybody who just wants to use Cloud 9 really instead of their default, you'll follow this exactly, and you'll do exactly what needs to be done. Mac and Linux users, and possibly Cygwin users, I don't know if Cygwin will allow you to do this, but we can find out. And in fact, if someone with a Windows computer has Cygwin and you want to try it, let me know. I'd appreciate that. So here we have, I'm going to show you how to get on C9, because all C9 really is, Cloud 9, it's just an Ubuntu computer inside your browser. That's really all it is. And I firmly believe Ubuntu is a great environment to learn how to use your terminal. If you're not familiar with it, there are tons of great videos out there that'll teach you. I think it's a great place to learn. First of all, you can just get on Cloud 9 and play with it. And if you break something, you can just delete the repository and you're done. You're not going to have to reinstall your operating system on your computer or something if you break it. So I'm going to show you all how to do that. Mac and Linux users, you can pretty much do the same thing as far as I know. Okay. So I'm going to go to c9.io. c9.io. Something that's interesting, I think Amazon just bought out Cloud 9, although I haven't noticed any changes. So that's interesting. And we are going to add a new, sorry, they're called workspaces in Cloud 9, not repositories. Create new workspace. And I'm just going to call this Vim installation example. I'm not even going to give it a description. You should always give it a description, but I'm not. And let's go to blank. Right here, this orange circly thing. Many of you probably won't have this. This is only if you're taking CS50. There you have it. And I'm going to create the workspace. And it will take a minute, and it will create the workspace. And it does take a few minutes. And I don't have very good editing skills, so we're just going to hang out. Anybody know any good jokes you can put into the comments at this time? And there it goes. Okay. So we have all this stuff. You can just close out all this because the whole point is to use our terminals. So here's our terminal. And by default, it puts us in our workspace. We're just going to type cd tilde. And that'll take us back to our home directory. You'll see that we have libraries and a workspace. But we're going to want a new one. So one of the first things we're going to do is we are going to install Bundle onto this Ubuntu machine. Right. At this point, if you are a Linux or Mac user, I think Linux comes with Git automatically from GitHub. Mac, I'm not sure. It's just a simple Google search. It was not hard to install if I had to. I don't remember having any nightmares of it anyway. What you would do, I can show you from the beginning. Google, Git Bundle. And it'll be this first option. Go down to Quick Start. And you'll see Setup Bundle is very simple. Just copy this. Go back into your terminal. Oops. Paste it. And we have Bundle. That simple. Great, isn't it? Then the other thing you're going to need is you're going to need my .files repository. And the way we can get to that is you can go to github.com/chriswolfdesign. Okay. Go to repositories. That's a terrible picture of me, I know. And click on .files. And there you have it. What you'll do is you'll come to clone or download, copy this link, go back to your Vim installation, git clone, and copy that in. And then you'll see we have a new folder in here called .files. Really is that simple. And I will put the link to both Bundle and my Vim and my .files repository from GitHub, so you don't have to go looking for them. They'll just be in the description as well. And let's take a look at my .files. You'll notice that there are 4 things here. There's a README. Ignore the README. Not important. We have my bash profile, vimrc, and a Vim folder. And as I mentioned, my Vim folder just has like calibration stuff for Vim. I'm going to show you how to get it on there, but if you're new to Vim, just don't really worry about what's on it. I promise it's nothing malicious. And for now, we're not going to, well, we'll use Vim. Vim bash profile. Let's take a look at my bash profile. You'll notice there's a couple things in here. First of all, I have L and ls, an alias. Basically what an alias means is when I type this, pretend I, oh, no, sorry. Okay, I don't know what this thing is doing. So just gotta close out of that. That was weird. I apologize. I don't know what that was. So basically what this says is whatever is on this side of the equal sign, pretend I said what's on this side of the equal sign. So L or ls gets me a color-coded list of my directory. That's what ls-l-g means. Whenever I put in Python, just assume I'm at Python 3. I've gotten a bit tired of no one uses Python 2 anymore. And lately, my computer's been getting a bit confused. Do I mean Python or Python 3? So I fixed that. Here's a big one if you're using Vim. V equals Vim. That just saves me time. A few keystrokes. Set G to mean sudo gdb if I'm debugging any C files. Java test to mean all this noise right here. That's just how you run tests on Java with JUnit. And for a while, I experimented with Emacs. So if I put in E, assume I'm at Emacs. Okay. That's my bash profile. And really what it's saying is when I do this in this computer, this is what I mean. So we're going to go back up a file, up a directory, and we're going to copy my bash profile, so .files/bash profile. But to make it work as my bash profile, it has to be hidden. Fortunately, that's very simple. All I have to do is put a dot at the beginning, and that means hidden. So copy .files/bash profile into .bash profile. And what you'll notice from the terminal, if you're new at it, it didn't say anything. And typically in the terminal, no news is good news. So let's open up the hidden one here. And as you'll see, all my stuff is here. But when I type V, it says commands not found. It's confused, it doesn't know what's happening. Well, that's because once you update your bash profile, the effects won't actually take effect until you close your terminal. Close. And if you don't want to see that again, you could just put don't ask again. And open up a new terminal. And now it works just fine. But Chris, I thought when we opened Vim, nerd tree and tag bar automatically opened. You're right. We've only installed the bash profile, which is how the terminal behaves, but we haven't installed the vimrc, which is how Vim behaves. Fortunately, it's just as simple. What we're going to do is we're just going to copy from .files our vimrc, and we're going to put it in .vimrc, make it hidden. Okay? And now we're going to try to open it. Notice at the bottom it's yelling. I don't know what nerd tree is. I don't know what tag bar is. Okay? And we're going to open up the vimrc. And again, it's yelling at us. I don't know what all this stuff is. And that's because we have all the files here. We just haven't told Vim how we want them to be used. So all we do is type in colon. You can see here at the bottom what I'm typing when I press colon. Colon just says to Vim, I'm not trying to edit my file. I want you to do something. I'm going to put in plugin install and press enter. And you'll notice that a window opens up and it's installing all of my plugins that I have from Bundle. Okay, done. Again, no news is good news. So now when I open up Vim, you can see all of my stuff. Okay. And I apologize. I know this is a bit hard to read with the blue text on the green-blue background. If you're actually going to do this in Cloud9, you're going to want to go change your color settings. Just look up Just Google Ubuntu, how to change color of terminal, because that's all this really is Ubuntu. We're going to quit all. And then the last thing we need to move is just those little tiny calibrations I did to Vim. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy, but remember, if we take a look, I don't know, that's actually a bit weird. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, notice that Vim is actually a directory. So we can't copy it over as easily, but it's not much harder. We're going to copy cp-a, which means all files in this directory, .files/vim/dot. And what that really means is I'm saying, hey, terminal, I want you to copy all files over, even if they're hidden. And then we're going to copy them into .vim, because remember, Vim is a hidden folder here. And we're just going to make sure that's actually there, .vim, and there's stuff there. And that's really how you install my vimrc. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any more questions, please feel free to leave a comment, or I'll put my email address in the description. Feel free to email me that way. I hope you enjoyed all this, and I know it wasn't a huge detail of how to use Vim. That's not really what this video is about. It's not really how to use Vim. It's more how I use Vim. There are some great Vim tutorials out there. If you're interested, look those up. And I hope you all enjoyed. Thanks for watching.